In this video, we're going to be making the Evil Clutches Dragon game. Okay, and this tutorial is for the Game Maker's Apprentice game development for beginners, which you can purchase at A-Press for $30. You can get the ebook, or you can get it on Amazon. And this website for the book actually has the source codes for the sprites and sounds and backgrounds, and also has Game Maker 8.1 to download onto your computer if you don't have that already. So you can get all that stuff from this website for the book, The Game Maker's Apprentice. So let's begin. The first thing we need to do is we look at this and we want to create our sprites. And the first sprite we will be making will be our dragon sprite. So let's do File, New, and here we create a sprite. And we're going to load a sprite, and we want to this is in our chapter 2 of the Game Maker's Apprentice. We want to get our dragon, and we want to make sure we have remove the background. You see that blue background? We don't want that blue background, so we're going to click on to remove it. Make sure it's clicked already. We hit open, and we're going to change the name to sprite underscore dragon, and we hit OK. And then all of this explains the background and how to load it. So the next one we're going to do is the boss. So we come back over here and we create a sprite. We want to load the sprite and we want the boss. Make sure that we have our background removed. Hit open. Name it sprite underscore boss. Hit OK. We want to do a demon sprite, a baby sprite, and a fireball sprite. So we create a sprite, load, demon, make sure that we have our background removed, name it sprite underscore demon, hit OK. Load sprite, baby sprite, make sure it's removed, hit open, sprite underscore baby, hit OK, and load sprite, fireball, make sure we remove the background, hit open, sprite underscore fireball. Okay, so you can see all of our sprites have been placed within the sprites folder. So you can, if you close it, you don't see them, but if you keep it open, they're all here. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create objects, and we're going to start with the boss object, and we're going to use the drag and drop programming to program our boss. So this create an object, we click on it, and we want a sprite for our object, so we're going to come down here and we look for the boss sprite. We're going to call this object underscore boss, and we want to add an event. We want it to be the create event. And what we want to do is we want it to move. So when we start the game and it's created, we want it to move. We're going to have it move upwards, and we're going to have it have a speed of 8. All right, so we just click on the upward in a speed of 8. So when the game starts, uh, we'll have a sprite, boss sprite, in the room, and it will start to move upwards. Now we're going to add another event, and it's the other, and we want to intersect boundaries. All right, so this is the edges of the room. So you have outside the room, and then you have the edges of the rooms, the boundaries. And what we want to happen there is we want it to reverse vertically. So this is just the top and the bottom boundaries. Because it's just going up. When it hits the top, it's going to reverse direction, and then it's going to go down. Then when it hits the bottom down, it's going to reverse direction again and go back up. So we have create. It moves upward. It hits the edge of the screen that you have for the game, and then it goes downward, hits the edge of the screen, and then goes back up, and keeps going back and forth like that. All right, and we want it to be visible. Okay? So we have our object boss. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create our dragon object. So we come over here, object. We're going to pick our dragon. We're going to call it object underscore dragon. We're going to add a keyboard event. We're going to hit the up. And then we're going to, so when we hit the up on the keyboard, we want it to move up, obviously, with a speed of 16. And then you hit OK. We can get rid of this. And then we're going to add a keyboard down. So we push the down arrow on the keyboard. We want the dragon to go downwards with a speed of 16. So we'll be controlling this dragon. Hit OK. Now, if we push the up button and it goes up, what happens when we release it? It'll still keep going up until we push the down button. It goes down. So it'll slide up. It'll go down, up, down. And it'll continue. What we want to happen is we want it to stop when we're not holding the key. So if we hit our no key, which means no key is being pressed, then we want it to stop. We want to have a speed of 0. So we hit OK there. So we have, when we push the up key, it goes up. When we push the down key, it goes down. But when we take our fingers off the keys, it just stops moving altogether. And then we hit OK. So what we want to do now is create a room for our dragon object and our boss object, so we can start the game. So we see on page 20, we have create a room from the resources. And on the settings tab, we're going to go to settings tab. We want to name it our first room and give it the title Evil Clutches. So we go over settings and we want to name it room underscore first. And the caption, we're going to call it Evil Clutches. We'll leave everything else how it is here. We can pull this out. So our room is where these squares are. And we're going to leave this 32 by 32. And this outside, we can make the room larger. Obviously, we can include, make the width and the height a lot larger and change the speed. But we're going to leave it like this for now. You can go back and change it if you want. So we have our dragon selected. So anywhere I click in here, I get a dragon. And then we have an object boss. And anywhere I click in here, we have an object boss. Now, something that we want to do is make sure that this is in the room all the way. So this is in the room. So I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to delete this. And then we're going to come over here. I'm going to right click and delete this. And we're going to come over here. That's good. So I might delete this too. Delete, and then go back, dragon, and put the dragon a little bit closer to the side. Delete. Delete. That looks good. So we have these two objects, a dragon and a boss. The dragon we're going to control. We can use the keyboard to press up and down, to have it go up and down. And the boss is going to automatically go up, hit the boundary, come down, hit this boundary. And it's going to go back and forth, up and down. So we're going to hit the check mark to close this and save it. And we can actually test it out. Let's see, run game. Let's see what happens. All right, so here we see our boss is bouncing up and down. And when I hit the keyboard, so something you have to do is click on the game to make sure the game's working correctly. So we hit the keyboard when I go up, but you notice what happens is it'll go in and out of the frame. It'll keep going up if I keep my finger on it, but it stops when I'm not pressing anything. So here we have our bad guy, and this is us. This is our good guy. So we should save it. So file, save as, and I put it in my folder. You should make sure you put it in your folder for intro or video game design. So you should find that. Let's see, Game Maker, and we want. Or we can put it in Game Maker's Apprentice Resources, Chapter 2, or you can just put it in your video game design folder, and then give it the name Evil Clutches, and then hit save. So you know where it is when you come in. Now, next time you come in, if you're saving right now and coming back tomorrow, then you'll notice when you open it, it looks like there's nothing here. A lot of people are like, oh, everything's got erased. But everything's still here. You just have to reopen it every time you save it and then come back. All right, so next thing we're going to do, now that we have our room made, save, run it, we want to make it a more interesting game than just moving a dragon up and down. So let's bring in our fireball. And make the fireball object. So we have create object, and we have a sprite, and we want a fireball. We call it object underscore fireball. And we want to add the event, create event. And we want to move fixed. We want it to move to the right with a speed of 32. Hit OK. And then we want to add an event. We want to hit the other event. when it goes outside the room, so when it leaves the room, we want to, on the main menu, we want to destroy it. Destroy instance. And that's a self, and we hit OK. So that's all we really have for our fireball. So when it's created, it moves to the right at 32, and once it leaves the box, that's the game. It destroys it. It destroys itself. So we hit OK. What we're going to do now, though, is we have our object dragon. So we're going to double click on that, and we open up our object dragon, and we're going to add a key press event. So when you press a key, and it's going to be, we're going to use the space. So when we press this space bar, we want to create an instance. So we have create instance. Bring that over. And the object we want to create is our fireball. And we want it at x100 and y10. And we want to click. We want it to be relative. And then we hit OK. So now we have our dragon. We press up, it goes up. We press down, it goes down. When we press the space bar, it shoots a fireball out. So we can save it right now. And we could run it and see if that works. Click here, up, down, fireball, 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 fireball. So that works. Boom, boom, boom. Now we'll be making the demon object, and we'll put the move fixed in there with a speed of 12, and we'll have it move in 3 directions. And randomly pick it 3 left pointing directions. And we'll put intersect boundaries and have it destroyed when it goes outside of the box. And then we'll also put collisions in there. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Let's see, object demon. We name it object underscore demon. We add event. We do the create. All right, so we got the move fixed here. We want 1, 2, 3 with a speed of 12. So it'll randomly pick as it creates these objects. It'll randomly pick one of these 3 directions. We hit OK. We pick other and intersect boundaries, and we want it to bounce off the verticals. Okay. And then we want to pick other and outside the room. We want it to be destroyed. Okay. We want to add event, collision event. With fireball. And so we're going to have our destroy. So when a fireball hits it, it destroys it. And then we want to go to the score tab and we want to set score. So the new score will be 100, and we want that to be relative, which means that you start with 0, and then when you destroy one, you get 100, and then if you destroy another one, you get another 100, another 100. Every time one gets destroyed, you add 100 on there. If you didn't have this clicked, then you would get 100 of score, and it would just be 100 as a score. Every time it collided, it wouldn't change because it would just be 100. So you want it relative so that it continues to add onto itself every time it happens. So we hit OK for that. And now we're going to have a collision event with the dragon. So if a demon hits the dragon, we want to show the high score, show high score. And you can pick the font, background, any of that stuff. We'll just hit OK. And then we're going to hit the restart under the main 2. Restart game. All right, so when a fireball collides with a demon, you get 100 points. When a fireball collides with a dragon, you die. So it just shows the high score, how many scores you got, and restart. So this is our object demon, and we hit OK. Now we're gonna go back to our boss, object boss, and we're going to add a step event, and it's a step. And then we're going to add a test chance from the control tab, and we want 50 sided dice. And then we are going to do the create. So then we're going to also put the create instance on here. And what we want it to create is a demon object. So we have our demon object here. And we want that to be relative, that it creates another one over and over again. Now, okay, we'll hit OK. Now we're going to create our another object, the baby. Underscore BABY. And we're going to have a create event. We're going to bring this over, and we just want it to go left with a speed of 8. And we hit OK. And then we're going to do a other, and it's going to be outside room. We're going to have it destroy. We're going to have it destroy instance when it goes outside the room. We're going to add a collision with the dragon. And what we have there is we're going to have a destroy the instant when it collides. And then we're going to have a set score to 500, make it relative. And we're going to have a collision with a fireball. We're going to have a destroy instant, and then we're going to have a set score to minus 100. Or is it 100? Minus 300. So if you accidentally shoot the baby dragon, then this is relative, then you lose 300 points relative to what you have already. And then we hit OK. And then we go back to our object boss. And we have another test. So let's see. This is out of 100 sides. Then we will create an instance of the baby. Baby. And make sure this is relative. Forgot to do that. Make sure here is relative. Okay, good. All right, so we save this. And why don't we hit File, Save. And let's test it out. And we got to, oh, lost too fast. So you can see that there's every time we collide with it, we die. So you can see this is a lot more difficult than it looks. We may want to make this larger screen here. So let's see, let's make this 16. Oops. 16 by 16. And let's make the room 1000. Let's do 1200. See what that looks. We're at 1000. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to go on the boss here, delete this guy, and go all the way over here, and then add the boss over here. And then check mark OK. Let's run it and see what happens. All right. Oh, got killed again. So you can see our scores work okay. And the babies come out every now and then. Oh, oh, killed the baby. All right, so that looks good. Okay, so we got the demon objects in, and we have the baby objects in, and we have all our random step events taking place. So we're going to want to do some backgrounds and some sounds. So we go into our game maker, and we want to create a background. We want to load a background, and here's a whole bunch of backgrounds. But what we want to do is we want to go to our we want to go to our where we have our game here from chapter 2, game maker. And pick that background. All right, so our width here is only 640 by 480. So let's hit OK. And it's just called background 0. We could call it background. Go to our room, and under backgrounds, now we can add our background. So this takes up this part of the room, and then it double features over there. So it'll tile it in real nice. All right, so we have it full. So then we hit OK. We got that saved. And we can test it out in the game and see how that goes. So you can see that looks better. Oh, and then we die. All right, so we can find backgrounds. We can make our own backgrounds, and we can find backgrounds that tile a lot better looking in this cave. But this looks okay for right now. Now we want to add some background music. So we're going to look for the music file. So we want to look up here for create a sound. We want to load a sound. And once again, we're gonna want to look in our folder. And we have music. So we hit open it. We want it to be a normal, or background music. We want it to be background music, sorry. And we'll leave everything like that and hit OK. You can listen to it if you want. We hit OK. Click on the sound, And I forgot to put sound underscore, let's call it BKG for background. Hit OK. And in our boss, right, in the create, we look in main section 1, and we have play a sound. Click on it, and we want our background, and we want it to loop. So we hit OK. Then we hit OK. Then when we hit play, you can hear our background music going. All right, now that we have our background music, we come down, and all we have left is to add a couple sound effects. One for the demon when the demon dies, and one for the baby if you happen to blow up the baby. Okay, so we're gonna do this the same way. We come in and we load our sounds, and we start with our demon and open it, and we'll call this sound underscore demon, and we want it to stay normal. We'll hit OK, and then we'll bring in our sound for the baby dragon, sound underscore baby, and we want it to be normal. OK, and then we go into our object demon, and when the fireball hits the demon, we want it to play a sound, and we want that sound to be the demon dying, and we don't want this one to loop, so we don't want it to loop. It's okay. All right, so there's an order of things. So when the fireball collides with the demon, it's going to play the noise and then destroy the instance, and then set the score relative to 100. We can put it in the middle here. So it destroys the instant, and then it plays the sound, and then it sets the score to 100. Or we can destroy the instance, set the score to relative to 100, and then play the sound. So we'll have it in this order. And then we hit OK. And then we have our object baby. And when a fireball collides with the object baby, we want to play a sound. We want that to be the sound baby. We don't want it when it's false. Hit OK. And then we hit OK. And we hit File Save. And then let's run our game. So you can hear the babies cry. So you hear the different sounds. So you know when you go do both. Okay, so that is the game. All right, so something you can do now is you can go back and you can add some sounds for when you shoot the fireballs, or you can make a noise that comes out when when the when the boss belches out the demons. You can make a sound happen when that happens too. And if you'd like to add a title screen to it, then go ahead and do that, and then you are done with your game.